Welcome, my Encanto pile. Thank you for letting me read for you today. I'm curious, right off the bat, if you're willing to share why you chose Encanto before we have any pre-ideas or anything. I'd be curious what made you decide the Encanto pile is for you. So if you're willing to share any of those thoughts, I would love to hear about them. We're just doing a 5 card spread today. It's not going to be super intense, hopefully. But I'm excited because this is going to be delving deep into our ancestors. I often don't like tapping into other spirits, but I do think that this is a really good one to learn from. And I think that is helpful in a lot of senses. So I'm excited to see where we end up with this and see how it goes for all of us. And we're just going to start off with what unfinished business with the living and deceased relatives haunt you the most. So like how it can be resolved. So if you've been having some unresolved issues or you think some spirits are coming and bothering you, this is going to be that time. We have the Emperor. Ooh, if somebody from your past, like a guardian of some sort that has passed along at this point and you feel like there's some unresolved business with them, the Emperor is classically the father figure of the tarot deck. So I'm thinking of kind of that paternal energy, or somebody you would maybe consider a parent, is really where my mind immediately goes for this. And what I'm hearing is like that protective energy, that person who had like stood tall and protected you, that feeling. What are you hoping to have come from this? I think is a really good, if you are a journaler, this might be a good one to have a journal next to you and realize, oh. And interestingly with Encanto, it's kind of Abuela is somebody who very much kind of has this matriarchal, authoritative power over the family. Everybody is there to please her. And I think interestingly with the Emperor, we have kind of a similar energy where the Emperor is often the person trying to be pleased, is the being that everybody is trying to kind of bend over for. And we have that synergy already off the bat with those 2 cards. And I think it's interesting to figure out where we can move from here. I don't know if this is going to, if this is best informing us at this time, how to resolve it. I think some more cards will actually help us get there. I am curious about what ancestor is close to you right now, because this might not be something you realize. Yeah, it's this card. Interestingly, this deck doesn't need to be shuffled very much. Oh, we have the 5 of Cups. With the 5 of Cups, we're often kind of looking at this moment of, it's kind of this reminder to have the grief, to allow yourself to cry over things being wrong. Things can get better, yes, but like having a moment of grief. Interesting. Okay, so the relative that you are closest to is probably the one that makes you feel the most safe. And if that person is also somebody who is also passed along, this is your chance to know that they are here, they're here to help, and they're happy to let you grieve. It's okay to grieve the loss. I think this is actually a really informative card of how to best resolve your feelings. It's okay to grieve, and it's okay to know that grieving doesn't ever stop. It comes and it keeps coming, and it's something that will forever be a process. You're never done grieving. You're never done. It's never perfect again. You're forever changed. You are changed because you loved. You are changed because that person ended up being so important into your life. You are changed just due to having that person exist in your life. And quite honestly, for the most of you, I think this is actually a person that is, you loved them dearly. You cared about them a lot. They were very important to you. I understand though that there might be some of you who are like, this person is not that. And there might be some triggering and traumatic things coming up in this. And that can be very, very hard. And that is then the point for the 5 of Cups to be about letting yourself grieve who you lost in yourself. That is okay. Grief and losing someone is not always about the person you lost, like the physical person that you lost. Sometimes it's about how you lost parts of yourself within that person or because of that person. So this is one that I would be very... I probably am not going to go too deep into that traumatic shadow work there, as this is probably something that you should talk to a professional about, and I am not. I am here to interpret cardstock. So it's something that if you feel like you would like to dive deeper into, I think it's something that a professional or having people who you can trust and know about your life would be really good for that, as I am not the person, I think, to help you go through that. For everyone else, where we are, this is somebody you loved and you cared about, this is a moment to remind yourself that it's okay if you still have to cry and you still have moments of grief, it's okay. That's not a bad thing. I want you to know that there are more things that the spirits want to let you know in like a positive light. Like, I want to pull a card to see what things about love and relationships and like happiness overall look like for you, and that's the one. We have the Four of Pentacles. Our Four of Pentacles, yeah, things probably have felt very, very shaky for a while. Stability is coming. You're going to find your new normal. You're going to find your new landing spot. You're going to realize that sometimes a routine is actually very helpful. And it's okay. It's okay to have these moments of uncertainty. It's okay to have moments where interestingly, I'm thinking of Encanto again, because if you've seen the movie, you'll know kind of, but when Casita starts to crack and everything starts to fall apart, it's this moment of the rebuild. It's the moment of finding your new ground, even though you think it's going to be so different, even though the miracle is gone, even though everything is falling apart and it's not the way you think it should be. That stability is still there. There's still that foundation in Encanto. It's the family still exists. That people still matter. People are still important. And this feels like this is your reminder that Casita can be rebuilt. That you have the important things to you, and that your safe place can be built again and recreated. And it might not be the same, but it can be a place of home again. That's security. So I know, and yes, I'm aware that Casita is house. So for those of you who are like, it's the same thing. Yes, it is. I do want to see what your ancestors have to tell you about your present life path. Like, what are you doing right now? What do they have to say? This deck really just doesn't want to be shuffled today. It just wants me to sit and cut it. And I'm not mad. Not mad at that. The Lovers. Ooh, relationships are important. You're going to have probably some new people who will come in and help you with those. It doesn't necessarily have to mean, just so you're aware, that it doesn't have to mean that you're getting your perfect match or anything. I know some people get very excited when the Lovers come up, but I don't feel like it's that. It's more of that paternal love, the guardian protectiveness that you have had is going to be kind of brought back in. And they want you to realize that your choices are not just your own. Family is often part of that choice. I'm just going to keep talking about Encanto. That's just where we're going to be at. Mirabel never talks to anybody else about what she's doing, really. It's kind of a secret the whole time. And you can theorize that, some of her cousins and stuff knew what was going on due to various reasons. But I think it's important to realize that Mirabel wants to take everything by herself. And I think there is a certain point here where you need a reminder that, like, hey, this isn't a solo adventure. Life is, collaborative, and there's different people who will join you on your adventure along the way. There's different people who will, leave the adventure along the way. And, there's just a lot that can happen. Some people play an NPC part in your life while you are playing NPC in theirs, and other days you get to be the main character and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I think that this is a really good one to remind us that this isn't a solo experience. This isn't something that you should be taking on solo. It should be something that you should be inquiring with others, those who you deem, in particular, deem family. It doesn't necessarily have to be by blood. It can be your found family. It can be those who you've grown and chosen to be family. All of that. That is really important and can be incredibly helpful for you. Within that, I kind of want to see who is the most helpful to help you move forward. The King of Pentacles. Wow, we have a court card specifically for this card. I don't always get that. So this could be living or deceased is the thing. I try not to tap into people's energy that are not consenting to this. This is something, though, that is more for guidance for you, which is why I'm doing it, is that I want to tap into that person's energy, mainly so that you know who to turn to. The King of Pentacles is somebody who is very on top of their earthly power. They know exactly what to do. To be frank and to use crass language, they have their shit together. This is the person that you will look at and go, yeah, they know what's going on. Typically, they're going to be a little bit more financially stable. It's not necessarily that they're like the wealthiest person but they know what they're doing with their finances. You've never felt concerned about them in that way. And if you've had the luck of listening to them talk about finances, you've heard very good things. You've heard, and you've kind of probably taken note and actually really taken that information in to be like, oh yes, this is somebody who knows what's going on and who knows what they're talking about and is worth listening. It's worth having a hearing of like, why yes, they do know what they're saying. I think this is a really fun power card. This doesn't necessarily have to be a man either, just so you're aware. Some people think if the king has to be a man. I think I have met some incredibly powerful women who are in those off, who are anywhere in between and off the spectrum of gender. There's some very stable people who are like, no, I am very solidly knowing where I stand and how I am, and I have excellent control. This feels almost type A type of person who's just like, I know what's going on. I have, I know what's happening by the minutes. I know all of that stuff. This is that type of person in my head that's like, yes, I know what's going on. I know what's happening, and I am this authoritative power. But it's not in the way that your emperor was. It's not in the way that Abuela is in Encanto. It's the power that comes from a gentle compassion, like a compassionate strength. It's not the authoritative strength. It's this very... compassionate strength is what keeps coming. You need to trust that person. If you do past work, this might be somebody that you need to invite in. Maybe you haven't worked with them before. If you are immediately thinking of somebody that this is the time to reconnect and talk. See how they're doing, see what's going on. And, it might have been away for a while, but like, let's do it. Let's reconnect. Thank you so much, Encanto Pile, for letting me read for you today. I hope this was of some interest for you. I hope you found it helpful in some way. I would love to hear about it. if you're willing in the past or in the comments below. But I know that this is one that I think is very personal. This one, these readings are going to be very personal, I think. And so I think that this is not necessarily one that everybody's going to want to share. But thank you for letting me read for you. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay magical.